After defeating the Edmonton Oilers on Tuesday night, I believe that win will carry the Hurricanes into Thursday night against the Calgary Flames and come away with another win.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Hours. I also cover the Chicago Wolves with a Wolves Weekly column. Also the co-host of the Surgecast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a fun Thursday edition for you guys as I will be previewing the Carolina Hurricanes at the Calgary Flames game that will be happening on Thursday night at the Saddle Dome in Calgary. As your Carolina Hurricanes continue their road trip through Western Canada and into the Pacific Northwest, going to go over the players, who are the stat leaders, overall team stats of the head-to-head, and also going to be doing the keys to the game and players to watch as we've been doing for the first few games of this season. But before we jump into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. So like I said, we'll be jumping into the preview of the Carolina Hurricanes and the Calgary Flames as the Hurricanes came off that 3-2 overtime comeback win against the Edmonton Oilers on Tuesday night, and thanks to Shane Gostisbehere, Martin Necas, and of course Sebastian Aho getting the game winner. The Calgary Flames right now are 5-0-1 after coming off their shootout win against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and right now the Flames are on fire, absolutely red hot, however you want to put it. Yeah, they are a team that's surprising a lot of people right now with being able to get points in all of 6 of their games so far this season. Overtime win against Vancouver to kick off the season, and then back-to-back-to-back wins against Philadelphia, Edmonton, and Chicago. Lost in overtime to Seattle Kraken, but then, like I said, won in the shootout against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they've secured points in all 6 games. Your Carolina Hurricanes are 3-2-0, lost to Tampa in the first game of the season, and then back-to-back wins against New Jersey and Pittsburgh. Lost that nail-biter in St. Louis, and then that comeback victory against the Edmonton Oilers on Tuesday night. The game is scheduled to be at 9 p.m. Eastern time, so just like Tuesday, make sure to have your energy drinks, coffee, whatever you need to help you get through another Canes After Dark game. That's the start of that. You can also find the game on FanDuel Sports Network South. Still getting used to call it FanDuel Sports Network and not Bally, that's for sure. That's still something to get used to. So for the season series, this is the first game of 2 between the two sides, as this will be the first one on Thursday night, October 24th in Calgary, and then they'll meet back up with each other until March 2nd, and that's a 5 p.m. Eastern game. So an earlier game for your Carolina Hurricanes hosting the Calgary Flames. Now, in terms of points leaders, goals, and assists, all that good stuff, Sebastian Aho does lead the team with 6 points, and then Shane Gostisbehere leads it with 4 goals, and then Sebastian Aho with 4 assists. So Sebastian Aho with his 2 goals and 4 assists leads with 6 on the team total. Rasmus Andersson leads the Calgary Flames with 6 points, 4 of those being assists, and he also leads the team in the assist category. And then Nazem Kadri leads with 3 goals. So those are kind of your stat leaders as of right now for both sides. Now, in terms of goaltending, Frederik Andersen, 2-1-0 with a 1.64 goals against average and a .939 save percentage. So outside of the Tampa Bay game, Frederik Andersen is having a really good start to the season for him in 3 games. Almost a 1.6 goals against, a .939 save percentage. You can't ask for more out of your goaltender, especially how he played against Edmonton, where after, Connor McDavid scored his first 2 goals, he basically shut the door from then on out, stayed calm, cold, collected, and got the win. So Frederik Andersen off to a hot start. Now it comes into the question of, do you go with Frederik Andersen and you stay with the hot hand, or do you go to Pyotr Kochetkov? That's the main thing, because for what you're looking at right now is, Pyotr hasn't played since the back-to-back against Pittsburgh and St. Louis over the weekend. So do you go with Frederik Andersen and then, stay with a hot hand and then go with Piotr against the Kraken and give him a week off in between starts? Or do you go with Piotr to kind of continue this little off and on, alternating goalies as they've been doing so far this season? And for me, I would say right now, just by the way Frederik Andersen's playing, I wouldn't be upset if you go with him against Calgary just to stay with the high hand, stay with the hot goalie. Of course, mostly doing stuff like that's mainly a playoff thing where you stay with a hot hand and a hot goaltender. But just the way he's been playing so far, I wouldn't be surprised if Rod Brind'Amour went back to Freddie. But also, do you really want Piotr to sit for an entire week between the Blues game on Saturday and then the Kraken game on Saturday as well? So it's one of those things where it's just who do you go with? And I said I would love for them to go with Peter Kochetkov. That way he's not sitting for an entire week. But also too, the way Frederik Andersen has been playing, I could definitely see a reason why the Carolina Hurricanes would be willing to go to him against Calgary, especially since how Calgary's been playing right now. And Frederik Andersen has been playing pretty much lights out hockey. Outside maybe a couple goals you would love back, maybe against Edmonton. Also maybe, Pittsburgh, Tampa, stuff like that. But overall, I mean, Frederik Andersen, 939 save percentage, a 1.64 goals against, you really can't go wrong with that. But let me know in the comments what you think if you're on the YouTube side of things, or when I post this episode on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Let me know who you would want to start in net for your Carolina Hurricanes against the Calgary Flames tonight on Thursday. Would you rather them go with the hot hand of Frederik Andersen, or should we go with the alternating goalie feature that they've been doing so far and put Peter Kochetkov in the net? Because Peter Kochetkov right now, 1-1 with a 3.05 goals against and an 867 save percentage. Of course, we talked about before the Edmonton Oilers game. That was basically due to letting in 4 goals on 19 shots against the St. Louis Blues, and his save percentage was under 8. It was like a 7. So it's, where do you go with that? Like I said, it'd be interesting to see what the Carolina Hurricanes go with and what Rod Brind'Amour and his coaching staff believe. But I could see them going with either one. But if knowing how Andersen's been playing, I would not be surprised if he's your starter tonight against Calgary. Now, in terms of Calgary, Dan Vladar, 2-0-1 with a 2.63 goals against average and an 890 save percentage. So while his save percentage is under 9, still playing really good hockey for Vladar. Like I said, 2-0-1. Hasn't been defeated in regulation. Goals against is still pretty, where you would like to see it for a goaltender at 2.6. Now, the goalie you really have to worry about, and he's the one that got them their win against the Pittsburgh Penguins in a shootout, was Dustin Wolf, shutting the door again, securing their win. He is 3-0 with a 2.3 goals against and a 936 save percentage. So pretty much close to what Frederik Andersen is in terms of save percentage. His goals against is a little bit higher, 2.3 against Andersen's 1.64, but he is undefeated with a 3-0 record. So that's really something to keep an eye on, which goalie they go with. But either way, it's going to be a tough matchup with either Vladar or Wolf in the net. And of course, Carolina, they have 2 solid goaltenders as well. So we could be looking at a very goalie-heavy matchup tonight between your Carolina Hurricanes and the Calgary Flames. Now, going into the team comparable stats, looking at the power play, the Carolina Hurricanes are 7th in the league, 28.6% compared to Calgary, who's 13th at a 23.8. So right around, they're pretty much neck and neck in terms of their power plays. Now, in terms of the penalty kill, almost, they're kind of close to each other for the most part as well. Carolina's 12th at 81.8%, while Calgary's 21st at 76.2. Face-off percentage, the Hurricanes 49.3, which is 19th. Calgary, though, 44% at 31st. So Calgary's not winning a lot of face-offs, almost second to last in the league. Goals for, Carolina's at 3, 19th in the league. And then Calgary Flames, they're putting up a 3.83 goals per game. That's putting them 7th. So right now, Calgary's been shooting the lights out, and that's what for as a hot start they've been on, not really surprising. Now, goals against, Carolina's only given up 2.6 goals per game. That puts them 7th, but Calgary Flames 2.5, putting them 5th. So right now, both teams are scoring the puck. Calgary more so than Carolina, where, like I said, Carolina's 19th, Calgary 7th, but they're both 5th and 7th in terms of goals against. So you're looking at it like a possibility. Like I said, where the goaltending stats are, you're probably looking at a goalie. We might be looking at a goalie duel tonight between your Carolina Hurricanes and the Calgary Flames for the fact that they both are in the top 10 of just allowing, not very many goals per game so far this season. So that's kind of what you're looking at in terms of the team stats, where we're going to be looking at and all of that. But we're also going to be looking at the keys of the games, but also the players to watch. But more so importantly, going to do a stats update for your Carolina Hurricanes to see where everyone's at so far 5 games into the season. So make sure you stick around as we'll be jumping into looking at where your Carolina Hurricanes individually are at here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Where can you do that? Well, you can do that at FanDuel.com. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said at the end of segment 1, where we jumping into looking at the individual player points, where everyone's kind of stacking up right now for your Carolina Hurricanes in terms of goals, assists, points, plus, minus, all that stuff. Just trying to see where, what the tendencies are for Rod Brind'Amour and his team. Now, in terms of goals and stuff like that, Shane Gostisbehere does lead the team with 4 goals. Like I said, he's actually the only defenseman right now to score any type of goal. Everyone else on the defensive unit hasn't scored a goal yet. So right now, Shane Gostisbehere does lead the defense in goals. Assist-wise, though, Dmitry Orlov and Jacob Slavin both with 2. And in terms of points, Shane Gostisbehere with 5 compared to the other guys who have 2. Power play goals. How about Shane Gostisbehere, though? 3 power play goals out of his 4. You love to see that. And he's also shooting the lights out. Leading the team with 13 shots, Burns with 10, and then the other 3 guys have 7, and Jalen Chatfield only with 3. In terms of blocks, how about Jacob Slavin putting his body on the line with 11 so far this season, and Brent Burns with 10. Now, total ice time, not surprising for the fact that you had Jacob Slavin at 22 minutes and 19 seconds compared to Brent Burns in 21 at 23. So overall, it's pretty even with Sean Walker being at 16:36. So all things considered, pretty even for the most part when it comes to just how the defense is being utilized by Rod Brind'Amour and Tim Gleason. Now, in terms of the forward groups, in terms of goals, Sebastian Aho, Martin Necas, and Jack Roslovic are all tied with 2, with Jordan Staal, Seth Jarvis, and Andrei Svechnikov at 1 apiece. Assist-wise, we have 3 guys with 4. That'd be Aho, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and Necas, with Andrei Svechnikov running out the group with 3. And in terms of points, like I said, Sebastian Aho does lead the team in points with 6, but Martin Necas also has 6 points as well with his 2 goals and 4 assists. And of course, you got Andrei Svechnikov with 4 assists and with his 4 points, and then Jesperi Kotkaniemi at 4 points as well. In terms of power play goals, Martin Necas is the only forward that has a power play goal so far. In terms of game winners, Aho and Necas. Shot-wise, Andrei Svechnikov leading the forward core with 21 shots, Aho 19, Seth Jarvis at 13, and then Jack Roslovic at 10. Total time on ice, Sebastian Aho is the only forward so far playing over 20 minutes per game, with Seth Jarvis at 19:38 and then Andrei Svechnikov at 17:35. And Martin Necas rounds out the top 4 at 17:24. So looking at the tendencies of how the group is being used so far, you can definitely tell that first line is getting used a lot. And even looking at it too in the fact that Martin Necas has, back on power play 1, when they're getting the opportunity on the power play, he's always there. So that's why you see where he's at, where he went from, being over 19 2 seasons ago, dropping almost a minute down. So now where he's back up to in a position where, he's getting the proper ice time. Like I said, going from 18 to low 17, even down to 16. He's back into the upper 17 range, and he was 4th on the forward core in terms of time on ice. And that's just because of the fact that with special teams and all that stuff, he's finding a way to getting himself back on the ice. So it's really good to see in terms of the fact that he's getting the proper ice time for him. Just Barry Kotkaniemi, we saw him get like around 12 minutes last season. So far, he's at 14:28. Jack Drury at 12. William Carey at 11:52. And then Eric Robinson, 10 minutes and 19 seconds. So even for the fact that he's only been playing 10 minutes, he does have a +3 and 2 assists. So for Eric Robinson, got to give the guy some props for the fact that he's being able to do what he can and still being impactful for the most part while playing barely over 10 minutes a game. So, it's quality over quantity, I guess, for the fact that you're not getting the quantity of minutes, but the quality that you're putting into it, you love to see it for Eric Robinson. But like I said, going back to Martin Easters real quick, the time on ice is good. At least you're getting to see him, do his thing, and he's actually, like I said, been impactful as well. Where he's tied in terms of the points wise for the Carolina Hurricanes. You'll take that for the fact that you just gave this guy a $6.5 million contract for the next 2 seasons. You want him to produce, and right now he is producing because he's right now in the top 3 on the team in points. Like I said, he's tied with Sebastian Aho with 6, and then Shane Gostisbehere right now is right behind them with 5. So you're putting yourself in a good spot where you're tied with Aho, ahead of Gostisbehere, and then you got Svechnikov, Kotkaniemi, and Seth Jarvis kind of right behind you as well. So far a good season for Martin Necas. And I mentioned it on socials yesterday. Like, we got to give our flowers to Barry Kotkaniemi for the fact that he has put himself into a situation where, yes, it's 4 points, all of them assists, but he's also doing the board battles. His face-off percentage has been absolutely astounding this year of how good it's been. And he's just putting himself into a situation where he's proving why he's that people consider him that Jordan Staal 2.0, where he's that defensive forward and someone who might not hit the score sheet consistently or score a lot of goals, but is doing all the small things that are right in what the Hurricanes want. And Ryan Brind'Amour has said it for a long time. As long as you're doing your job, the stat sheet will figure itself out. As long as you're doing your job and helping the team win, that's all that really matters. And that's what Barry Kotkaniemi is doing right now. Luckily, he's getting those secondary assists instead of the tertiary assists that kind of snake bit him last season. But also for the fact that, like I said, he's winning a lot of faceoffs. He's doing the board battles, throwing the body around, doing all those little extra things that you would really want out of him. And he's doing a phenomenal job with it, especially with playing second line center, where people are kind of like, okay, is he really supposed to be there? How is he going to be this season? But so far, doing pretty well and holding his own. So got to give a lot of props to Barry Kotkaniemi and what he's done so far for the Hurricanes, and also for the fact that, his line mate in Martin Necas is, like I said, he's tied for the team in points, goals, and assists with Sebastian Aho. Yeah, Jack Roslovic is holding his own as well, but so far the second line's doing pretty decently compared to the fact that you're kind of having to find a lot of scoring in a lot of places this season with just the turnover and the influx you've seen in the roster. And also, too, the defense hasn't really been scoring a lot as we're kind of used to. You would think, yes, Shane Gostisbehere does have 4 goals and an assist for 5 points, but he's the only defenseman that scored a goal so far. Like, Brent Burns has been held scoreless for 5 games. Jalen Chatfield hasn't scored. Of course, Jalen Chatfield's not someone who's going to, put up 15, 20 goals a season, but he'll give you enough. And same thing for Jacob Slavin. You're waiting for Sean Walker to get his first as a Carolina Hurricane, but, you're waiting for Dmitry Orlov, too. So, for a team that's used to having their defense kind of being the top dogs in terms of putting up goals across the league as a whole, as a defensive unit, right now, Shane Gostisbehere is kind of carrying that defense. So that's where you're kind of having to look to your forward core, be like, hey, guys, everyone's got to put up some production. Everyone's got to put up some points, whether it's goals or assists and doing their job. So that's why you see Jack Roslovic already have 2 goals. That's why you see Eric Robinson. Yes, it's 2 assists, but they've been impactful assists as well. And that's why you see, Necas and Aho and Jarvis kind of leading the way in terms of the forward core. And even just Barry Kotkaniemi, like I said, you give him 4 assists, you'll take that any day of the week. So it's definitely something to where it's all hands on deck for the Carolina Hurricanes right now, especially to start the season, and more so on this road trip in Western Canada to finish off the trip and along in the Pacific Northwest where they play the Kraken on Saturday. So that's kind of like your stats of where everyone's at so far in terms of where points, assists, the time on ice and stuff like that. Just trying to see where the trends are at so far, 5 games into the season as we continue this road trip with 3 games to go. So stick around here, guys, as I'll be jumping into my 3 keys of the game and also what 3 players I think that everyone should be watching for the game against the Calgary Flames on Thursday night. So make sure to stick around as I'll go over all of that here in a second on the Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. And we're not talking about just sports, also concerts, comedies, theaters, and so much more. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The one thing that's really great about Game Time Picks is, like I said, it's a curation to make it easier to save more on sports. And like I said, even on concerts, if you want to go see Trivium in concert in Raleigh or Charlotte next May, there you go. If there's a comedy show you go check out, or maybe you want to go to a Broadway play, or even go to a play near where you live, well, Game Time can help you that out as well. And the feature that really is beneficial to make it work for you as well, it's their all-in pricing. And when you toggle this feature, well, you can see your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. But to make sure to get that, you have to turn on this feature to get the all-in pricing so you know what you're going to get at checkout. Now, the feature I really enjoy is their panoramic view seat finder, because when you jump into the app and you take a look at your seat, you'll know what you're looking at before you even buy the tickets. So no obstructive views, no weird angles, stuff like that. It helps you take the guesswork out of buying tickets. And what better place to do that than with Game Time? So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONAHL. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Well, it's game time. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run a game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, with PrizePicks, it is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts, like a Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. So why not enjoy some tacos and also maybe winning some money? Do you think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week? Do you think Christian McCaffrey can run more than 75.5 yards? Cook up the hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. Now, for me, sometimes I might go in there and see, like, okay, do I think Tyreek Hill might have more than 97.5 receiving yards, or do I think Justin Jefferson might have more than 100 receiving yards? Well, you can do that by downloading the app today and use code LOCKEDONAHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONAHL to get $50 off instantly. $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's PrizePicks. And with PrizePicks, you can run your game. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So as we run out the show, as we wrap up, getting ready for tonight's game against the Calgary Flames, these are my 3 keys to the game. I've been doing this for the last few games now. You guys know where I'm kind of coming from in terms of what the Hurricanes need to do to keep the momentum going, why I think they are going to keep the momentum going. And in that, they won Tuesday night against the Edmonton Oilers. Yes, it was a comeback, but I think, as they say, the momentum doesn't carry from game to game, but I think you get confidence from game as well. So I think if they take that confidence and roll into this one, and like I said, and for me, it's don't get cute. Yes, you came back against Edmonton. It was a great win. You basically had to turn on the third period, get 2 goals, and you had to win in overtime. For the Flames, they are 5-0-1. I would not really get cute with this team because they have been torching opponents. And sorry for the puns, but it's going to happen on this episode because it's just too easy to do that because, I mean, why not? But yeah, don't get cute with the Flames. Like they've been killing a lot of teams this year so far. Yes, they've got some overtime winners, shootout wins, and stuff like that. But they're 5-0-1. They're fifth in not letting a lot of goals in. They're top 10 in terms of scoring as well. So it's one of those things where they're not letting a lot of goals go in, but they're also scoring a lot of goals themselves. So when you're seventh in that category and fifth in goals allowed, you're gonna have to play you're gonna play almost a dang near perfect game, and you have to have hopefully goaltending really stacks up against these guys, depending on who you threw in for either Frederick Anderson or Pierre Kachekov. Another key, and I've been saying this the last few games, limit the penalties. You cannot keep giving teams more opportunities on the power play. You had 4 against Edmonton. You did let 1 in, so now you're 12 for 13 in your last 3 games. But that's still a lot of penalties. You're almost averaging 4 a game at this point. You really have to try to limit yourself to not giving other teams opportunities, especially to a team like Calgary, where, yeah, Edmonton's tough because you have McDavid and Drysdale and Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman. The way Calgary's been playing right now, I also don't want to give them a lot of opportunities. So for me, limit the penalties, man. Gotta keep it at 2. If you get 3, fine, but you really have to make sure you're really limiting those opportunities. You're doing a lot more 5-on-5 play. And also, as well, you're going to have to be creative. Now, not saying get cute, because that's counterproductive to being cute, but you're going to have to get creative. You got to get moving a lot because of the fact that they've only allowed, in terms of goals, 2.5, which they're 5th in the league in. They are not letting a lot of goals in. So if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, you have to come in and be creative with your zone entries, your setups, rushes. You have to find ways to come at the Flames in different ways and different angles. So that way they're not going to just hone in on what you're doing and kind of shut you down. This is a type of game where you're going to have to get creative, not cute, but creative in terms of figuring out how to beat the netminder, whether it's Vladar or Dustin Wolf. This is something where it's going to be you're going to have to find ways to break the defense down in different ways and not be a one-dimensional, one-trick pony when it comes to how you do your zone entries and setups and stuff like that. So be ready to get creative, but not get cute with it. Now, in terms of 3 players that I think we definitely need to watch tonight, obviously the first one is going to be Shane Gostisbehere. Are you surprised? No, not really. He has 5 points on the season, 4 goals and assists. He is on a 4-game goal streak. Last guy to do it? How about Dougie Hamilton in 2019? Can he go 5 for 5? Honestly, yes. I think he can go 5 for 5. Will it be another power play goal since he's had back-to-back games with a power play goal? Possibly. You would love to see it because the fact that 3 of his 4 goals are on the power play. But honestly, you'll take it any way you can get it. Even shorthanded, which I doubt, but even strength, power play, you'll take whatever you can get out of Shane Gostisbehere. But he is definitely someone I'm keeping an eye on to see if he goes 5 for 5 with 5 straight games with 5 straight goals. So definitely keep your eye on Ghost as we hopefully get another Ghost sighting in this one at the Saladome, because there's a lot of ghosts. There's a lot of ghosts in the Saladome over the years. Maybe Shane would like to add another ghost to that barn as well. Another guy I want to keep an eye on is Brent Burns. Slow start to the season in terms of goals. Does have some assists, but you really got to hope that he's kind of getting back into his flow as well, because you can't rely on Shane Gostisbehere to score your goals for you. And especially when you're on the top line with Jacob Slavin, you got to be producing. And yes, he does have points, like I said, but it's one of those things where you are on the power play. You're someone who really needs to stack up, and actually, correction, he has no points on the season so far. So really, if you're Brent Burns, you really got to get off the schneid. So sorry, correction, no points. So Brent, start scoring some points, please. That's what we really need out of you right now. When you're on the top line with Jacob Slavin, you really need to be clicking on all cylinders right now, or even giving us something. Right now, he's not. So another guy you need to watch out for is Brent Burns. Is he going to get off the schneid and get some points, either it's an assist or a goal or something? Because right now, having 0 through 5 games, It's not ideal for a guy who's in the last year of his contract and someone that you would really hope would be capitalizing for the Hurricanes as of right now. Now, the other guy that we're going to need to keep an eye on too is will Jesperi Kotkaniemi score a goal? And I think he will. He's been very close a few times. He's already hit the post at least a good half a dozen times already this season, 5 games in. Does have 4 points, all assists, but I do think that we are going to see Jesperi Kotkaniemi score his first of the season against Calgary tonight. So that's not going to keep an eye on. Will Jesperi Kotkaniemi not be snake bitten anymore, get his first of the season, and get really rolling with his hot start to the 24-25 season? But let me know in the comments, what are the 3 players are you going to be watching tonight for your Carolina Hurricanes? For me, Shane Gostisbehere, Brent Burns, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I think the Carolina Hurricanes are going to get another win tonight. Like I said, on the comments on YouTube or on social media, let me know who are you watching for tonight's game against for Carolina against the Calgary Flames. But that will do a Thursday episode for Locked On Hurricanes. Thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge on your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to keep up with me, you can find me at OneShoeZach on X. The podcast is @Hurricanes. I do have a link to my bio where you can find all of my articles at the Hockey Writers and also links for my other podcasts, the Surgecast, or just go look up the Surgecast on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. For this show, Locked On Hurricanes on all podcast platforms. Leave a 5-star rating review so I can read it on the show. On YouTube, Locked On Hurricanes. Make sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up button and let me know you like the show as well. And like I said in the comments, who are your 3 players that you're going to be watching for the game tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes against the Calgary Flames? Share this podcast with other Caniacs to become everydayers just like you, because we are over 1,000 subscribers. And let's just keep this rolling. Let's get to 2, 5, 10,000. Let's just keep this train rolling. But I hope everyone enjoyed the Thursday preview edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys their Thursday. Hope everyone enjoys watching another Canes After Dark when your Carolina Hurricanes take on the Calgary Flames. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.